Hello, I'm Steve Shaw, National Coordinator of Football Officials and Secretary Rules Editor for the NCAA. And today we're continuing our series of training videos for 2024, and we're going to be focused on game action from week 7. Now, we all know football is a dynamic game, and occasionally specific situations arise where committing a foul can give a team an advantage. And one of our guiding principles in the Playing Rules Committee is there should be no profit when a team fouls. So we released an interpretation this week to eliminate a potential clock advantage for a team committing a substitution foul. Specifically, this will take away any gain for the defense if they violate our substitution rule. Now, we're going to talk about and illustrate this new interpretation in play 1 of our video, so make sure you stay tuned there. Now, I want to hit 2 things here. Number 1, we're just past midseason. Take care of your body. Now we've got bumps and bruises and pulls. Make sure you're doing the things to keep your body in great shape to work. Make sure you're stretching, make sure you're exercising, stay in shape. We've got to be ready to go the back half of the season. And also, let's continue to do a great job with our player safety rules, especially with targeting. We're averaging 0.18 targeting fouls enforced per game, and that's going down. That's good. Our players and coaches are doing a better job there. But we've got to do everything from our standpoint to ensure if there's targeting, we get the marker on the ground. And replay, let's do a great job there. We've got to be consistent with our targeting plays. So with that, let's get on into our video. As referenced in our opening, our first play is a 2-play vignette. Now, the first play illustrates a current playing rules interpretation that we have. We're late in the game. We see here that defenders, they just grab and hold all the receivers, not letting them out on their routes to disrupt the play and ultimately burn time off the clock. Now, the current interpretation takes these holding fouls, convert them to unsportsmanlike conduct, and we penalize that. And you can tell these players are blatantly committing a foul to gain a time advantage. But more importantly, we're going to reset the game clock to the time of the snap, and the clock will not start until the next snap. Now, as we look at a play from our past weekend's games, and let me say the crew handled the play according to our rule, but we see we're late in the game, the offense is snapping with 10 seconds remaining, and they're going to throw a pass that is broken up, and the game clock stops at 6 seconds. And as we go back and take a look at the all-22 camera, we see that the defense has 12 players on the field, and these players all participate in the play. Now, our new interpretation is that after the 2-minute timeout in either half, if the defense commits a substitution foul, which they did here, and have 12 or more players on the field and they participate in the down, then officials will penalize the defense for the substitution foul, but at the option of the offended team, will reset the game clock back to the time displayed at the snap. The game clock will then restart on the next snap. So here, after the 5-yard penalty on the defense from the previous spot, we would reset the clock to 10 seconds, and it would start on the next snap. And the offense would get to repeat third down. Now, if the 12th defender was attempting to exit but was still on the field of play at the snap and had no influence on the play, then the normal substitution penalty would be enforced with no clock adjustment. But I think we'd all agree here that these 12 players did participate in the play. And this new interpretation, it really eliminates any potential clock advantage by the defense for having 12 or more players on the field. Play 2 is an example of an act that is considered a flagrant unsportsmanlike conduct foul and requires ejection. So we see a fairly benign play, but we get some additional action by receiver number 1 and defensive back number 1, and the receiver is going to spit in his opponent's face. Now, we get a flag down. Good job by our side judge to stay with this action and get the marker down. And we get a good announcement by our referee.
Flagrant, unsportsmanlike conduct, offense number 1 for spitting on an opponent. Number 1 is ejected from the ballgame.
And we all note the word ejected here. We know that if a player is disqualified for targeting, they can stay in the team area. But if a player is ejected, then not only are they out of the game, but they must leave the team area, the playing enclosure, and remain in the locker room under team supervision. So good job making sure that this player did leave the playing enclosure. Play 3, we get a field goal attempt, and the kick is ruled good by our back judge, who's in perfect position, perfect concentration. Now, we note that the ball is higher than the upright, and so we know that by rule, the ball must be inside the upright to be good. The back judge has the best view in the house, but from the TV cameras, people question this ruling, but it's impossible to tell without the proper depth perception when the ball passes over the crossbar. And that's why this play, when the ball's higher than the upright, is not reviewable, and why field goal attempts are only reviewable when the ball is lower than the top of the uprights. Now, the coach challenges here, and as we've said before, we should never tell a coach not to challenge, but hopefully on a play like this, replay can communicate through O to the crew that the ball was higher than the upright and will not be reviewable. Now, the coach insisted he would challenge, and that's his right. The replay comes back after review, and we announce that the ball was higher than the upright and not reviewable. So the coach loses his timeout, but he retains his challenge. Hopefully, with excellent communications, we can inform the coach here, but ultimately, this is a coach decision. Play 4 is good work by the crew and a reminder to us all on penalty enforcement for pass interference. Now, we know that if DPI occurs less than 15 yards downfield, the penalty is enforced at the spot of the foul. And if the foul occurs 15 yards or more downfield, it is 15 yards enforced from the previous spot. As we get nearer the goal line, if we're snapping on or inside the 17 and outside the 2 and the DPI is in the end zone, the penalty is enforced from the previous spot and will put the ball at the 2. So as we see here, we're snapping inside the 17 at the 11, and there is clear defensive pass interference in the end zone. Good calls by both the back judge and field judge. So we're going to enforce the penalty at the 2, but it's important to note that the rule says from the previous spot to the 2. So even though the DPI occurred in the left corner of the end zone, the snap was from the right hash, so the ball will be placed at the 2-yard line from the previous spot, which will be the right hash. So it'll be first and goal from the 2 on the right hash. Good work here. Play 5 is 4th down early in the game. The offense is going to punt. Now the ball's going to be snapped over the kicker's head. He immediately tracks the ball back into the end zone, and he's going to kick the loose ball back across the end line. Now, good coverage by our referee and center judge, and we get 2 flags down. And as we analyze the play, the result of the play is a safety. And since the foul for illegally kicking the ball occurs in the end zone, the penalty also results in a safety. But it's always good to think these plays through. And if the foul had occurred in the field of play and the kick went back through the end zone, so let's say the foul occurred at the 2-yard line, the result of the play would still be a safety. And that'd be one option for the defense. But if they accepted the penalty, it would be enforced half the distance to the goal from the spot of the foul and would include loss of down. So if the defense accepted the penalty and it was in the field of play, it would not be a safety, but they would have first and goal from the 1-yard line. So good job by the crew on coverage on this play. Play 6, we're late in the game, and the kickers are going to try an onside kick. Now, we anticipate it well. We're up in our onside kick formation. Now, it's a little bit of a different onside kick here, but it's very effective. We see the ball, it seems to curve, is first touched by the receiving team, and after a scramble, the kicking team is going to recover just beyond midfield, and we rule that it is a legal recovery. Now, as we go back and take a look at the kick, it is a drop kick. Now, we know that a kickoff either is a place kick or a drop kick, but we don't see this very often, but we know that a drop kick is a kick by a player who drops the ball and kicks it as it touches the ground. Now, we know that by interpretation, if he drops it and it bounces up in the air and then he kicks it, it's an illegal kick. But here, this was executed properly. And we do a good job of coverage, and we also know that in addition to a place kick and a drop kick, if it's a free kick after safety, we add a punt in. But good coverage here, good work by the crew. Play 7, the offense is going to run a gadget play, and it has a couple components to it. So first, the quarterback, he takes the snap and passes backward out to number 15, and 15 throws long to number 44 in the end zone for a touchdown. Now, by rule, we know the offense is allowed only one forward pass during the down, but the first pass here is clearly backwards, so they meet this requirement. Good job there. The other part of the play is legal, but something we rarely see. As we look at the shift in the formation, number 44, who caught the touchdown pass, he's going to actually snap the ball. Now, we've received a lot of questions, can a center be an eligible pass receiver? But as we look at the alignment at the snap, the offense meets all the requirements for a legal formation. They have no more than 4 backs. They have 5 players on the line, numbered 50 to 79, and number 44 is on the end of the line with an eligible number. So the formation is legal, and number 44, even though he's the center, he's an eligible receiver. So it's a play we don't see very often. We handled it very well on the field. Good job. Our last play this week, there are 9 seconds left in the half. It's 1st and 10 with no timeouts left for the offense. Now, the quarterback, he's flushed out of the pocket. He throws downfield complete beyond the line to gain, and the clock is going to be stopped. The receiver's tackled in bounds. The clock stops with 1 second left in the half. Now, this is a temporary stop, as we know, and the game clock will restart on the referee's signal. We know that with 3 or more seconds left on the clock, the offense could spike it and, if executed properly, get another play. But with less than 3 seconds, so with 2 or 1, the offense has time for only 1 play. Now, we wind the clock. The quarterback, he musts the snap, then he picks it up and spikes it. We know there's an issue there, but we know there's only 1 play, and the half is going to be over. So the referee makes an announcement, the half is over, and everyone heads to the locker room. Well, that's it for our plays this week. Now let's get ready to go to work. We want quality fouls, make it be there, no technical fouls. Be good dead ball officials and be a presence with players. That's so important. We want excellent communications with coaches, with players, with your fellow officials. Always use your winning words. And let's make sure that ultimately we display our integrity, courage, and poise. That is so important. That will lead to a great game. So let's keep hustling, and best of luck to all.